one thing that I find interesting with Christians is that when people who, they get fanatical into their religion, they often get into this headspace of thinking that anything that is outside of their faith is deemed to somehow drain them or is given homage to a certain deity or entity or demon, whatever the case is. You can be Christian and love anime. You can be Christian and love astrology because both have some form of similarity to the Bible. They have similar themes as well. And it's just very interesting that we live in a time where Christians in 2024, they feel like restricted, and they have what is now called progressive Christians, to where now they can modernize the certain topics and themes in the Bible and try to associate it with this world and the day that we live in. The problem with that is that you can't really modernize a book that was written for a certain time. It would just be very interesting for you to try and speak to speak to an audience in 2024 of a passage in the New Testament of slaves obey your masters. It would just be very interesting for you to try and speak on certain laws and principles, and given the context of when it was written or given the context of the certain culture and time of that age, for you to try and preach that to a certain audience, which is why there are so many different denominations, so many different perspectives, so many different traditions and systems that revolve around the Bible, because they're really, the Bible is not very objective. It is so easily interpreted that anybody could really take it and utilize the tool of the book to their advantage and for their benefits. But within this video, we're getting into the basis of a topic. This man named Keats, basically, he is a great comedian. If you haven't seen his comedy series, The Planets, Six Rings, love that. I love that when I was back in college and I used to watch that. It would come on my explore page on Instagram and stuff like that. He is very talented, very talented. He can rap, he can make beats, he's a musician, all that type of stuff. The man is a literal one-man band. Unfortunately, he has somehow something happened in his life and he is now a Christian, and with you being a Christian, you have to change your format. And so he has been changing up his format in terms of comedy, in terms of music, all these different type of things. And one of his big moves is quitting doing the planets. And we're going to watch this video, and I'm going to try my best not to, cut it and pause it so many times, because it's a 15-minute video. And I don't want to make this video too long, but I will be speaking very vocally, respectfully about these different topics and stuff. And I will let me make a disclaimer as well. That's the homie, all right? And I'm going to still continue to support his content and anything that he does that, I want to support and everything that's such. Still talented, it's just, if you know this channel, if you know who I am, this bothers me. So make sure you hit that like button. And without further ado, let's get into it.
I have always had a good sense of when I'm on the right path. I've always followed that gut feeling. I've always tried to the best of my ability. And it's always worked out for me. I've always had a good sense of what I'm supposed to be doing. Okay, I'm doing this now. Now I'm not doing this. I've always switched when I felt I needed to, and I followed that, because some people, they tend to stay even when they know their time has kind of, spent up. But, because we're not all meant to be in the same spot. I hope I'm making sense. I've always moved as I felt I needed to. And I knew I wanted to be a content creator. So when I discovered this idea, The Planets, I did it, and the response was insane. 1 million views in a night. Every video after that during TikTok, and TikTok was just on an increase. So I just had a sense of I should just keep doing this. First off, this is my big break, right? So I started the series, and I was like, this is what I can really show them. I can show them my range. I can show them my music ability. I can show everyone this, da-da-da-da. And I went on, and it was great. And I have no regrets of doing The Planets, because that's what I was supposed to do at that time. So the planets was great
distracted.
for the time that I've done the planets. I've touched so many people. I've educated in schools. Teachers have told me that they use my videos. But then it started to get to a certain point where the planets were taking from me as entities. Like, if I wouldn't have an idea immediately for the planets, I'd have to kind of force, a story or something. And I was kind of relying on the planets to really, live, pay bills, feed. And new videos equals merch being sold, equals, me being able to continue doing this. And to that point, you kind of can become a slave to your work at a certain point. And I do other things. It's not mainly that, but it just started to feel forced. Like, I wasn't born or put on this planet to be representing the planets and, giving my body and my platform to these entities. The school bus is back. Planets started to, in a way, become my gods, because if people were in my comments saying, hey, I'm only here for the planets, or hey, where are the videos, where are this, people, it become my gods. Because
your gods.
So at a point, these planets started to, in a way, become my gods, because if people were in my comments saying, hey, I'm only here for the planets, or hey, where are the videos, where are this, people wanted me to be that. There's so many people that didn't care about who I was as a human being, about, there are other videos that I make that are just as good, just as talented, but all you want is to see me as Venus. All you care about is me as Neptune. All you care about is seeing baby Pluto again.
Well, yeah, you're a content creator. If something on your channel blows up and you see that as a content creator as something that can really pivot you as a content creator, you use it. I think he's too much in his head personally. That's just me. I think he was too much in his head at this moment to think that all of a sudden, and I hate how he's using the term entities, gods and entities and deities. Fam, we are dealing with planets. We are dealing with planets. We are dealing with realms that have they have energy, they have force, but they also dwell within you as well. And that's not the purpose of this video. But he's trying to make it something bigger than what it is. Like these were spirits and energies that were just taking control of his life and he couldn't do it anymore. Fam, you turn something into something entertaining and funny and something that people could really get with, and it blew up. And it became something a part of your brand and who you were as a person. And that's not a bad thing at all. You were saying that you got millions of views. It was paying the bills. People were using this in their classrooms. I mean, it's helping all around and about. Where was the negative? Okay, yeah, you felt like you had to force out ideas. But then again, that's you being in your own head. That's just me personally. If you created an idea, imagine HaHa Davis didn't utilize on his own guard. Like, imagine HaHa Davis didn't utilize on that. Imagine Desi Banks didn't utilize on the white forces versus the black air forces, because it was draining him. There were entities. Imagine Tyler Perry didn't emphasize on Medea. Like, you too much into your head, fam. It was a skit idea. It was a series, and it blew up, and people liked that. That's what people loved. Now, okay, people wanted it more and more and more, but that's the consumer wants. That's what they want. That doesn't mean you immediately give them what they want, but you should have a plan. You should have had a plan out on when to come out with a certain video with these series. To me personally, as creative as I am, and I'm not tooting my own horn, it wouldn't have been, and I like I said, I'm not speaking for him. I like I said, this is just my personal opinion, it wouldn't have been that hard to come up with ideas for that particular ideal, for that particular setting, from time to time. Of course, when it comes to those type of dealings, it might take time for you to be in costume and to have the script and everything of that sort. But, something has to give, fam. That's just me personally. I really hate how he's using deities. I feel like he's gonna bump it up a notch and feel like people worship these gods and entities and stuff. I hope we don't go down that lane, but let's continue.
And it doesn't feel good from a human being standpoint. And I know a lot of times everyone knows that, a lot of the viewers a lot of times are disconnected, that these content creators and people you see on YouTube and the internet have feelings and emotions just as you do. I'm not going to sit here and be a crybaby about that. We all know that's true. But I felt that I needed to, that this wasn't it. It's just, I felt like this is running its course. I'm not being fulfilled. And that's the thing. I've always chased internal fulfillment. It's never been about money for me. The money's good, money's great, but if I'm making money and I feel like crap inside, if I don't enjoy my work, because I'm so talented, I have so many different talents, and I've been able to do anything that I've imagined to be able to do, I can feel good doing things. I can say if I'm bored at making beats, I'll go and, write a story. If I'm bored at writing, I'll go make a funny video. If I'm bored with that, I'll go and, draw something. I just had so many different avenues I could express myself and entertain myself in different ways. So I wasn't really being entertained. It felt like I was pushing something. But then I got to a point and just said, what am I doing all this for? And I started to understand at the end of the day, spiritually, if I'm not being spiritually fulfilled, what is going on? I felt like I was giving my body and my purpose to these pagan entities, and I don't want anyone to think I'm coming from a Bible thumper perspective. No, if you reduce it down to all of the levels, these planets are named by the Greeks as pagan gods.
For the record, planets are way more complicated than just Greek gods. I'll just leave it at that. Let's continue.
They just swap them to the names. So these entities and these spirits that I believe are very real. I believe these dimensions are real. I believe that thoughts are things, words are things become things. I think these entities were being glorified through me, and that doesn't feel good. Pluto, if you look up all of the mythology between Venus, Pluto, Jupiter, Mercury, all of these entities, these names, these spirits, all these lesser spirits, if you're familiar with the Bible and spirituality, all these lesser spirits crave is to be worshipped as God, because they all fell from heaven and because they wanted to be like God. And God,
Wolf, let him keep going.
God is to be worshipped. So all of this is worship. Hey, what's going on? 6 rings. Hey, what's up, Pluto? What's going on? Like, people wouldn't even call me me. They just call me by the planet that they like or something. And so I'm like, okay, so I'm being a conduit for these planets, multiple.
No, fam. Oh my goodness. It's no better than seeing Denzel as Denzel, or somebody seeing Will Smith as Will, or whatever the case is, right? It's because you personify certain characters that you created. It's not about people worshiping a god or an entity. And this is what I cannot stand about certain Christians. This is what I can't stand, is that they get fanatical and they start overthinking and they start making things bigger than what it seems to be. I mean, for you to go out right out the gate talking about pagan gods and lesser spirits, and then for you to try and claim that the Greek gods were fallen angels. Where in the world is that even biblical, or like, where do you even get these concepts? You see what I'm saying? And you took something, heard something, ran with it, and now you're saying certain pantheons from certain cultures from other people were the lesser spirits, and that their purpose is for them to want to be God. You see how messed up that concept is? Because all the pantheons in Greek mythology represents a certain personality. It represents a certain element within nature, within yourself. Most of them gods didn't even want worship. When you study their mythology, when you study their stories. But of course, you had the different temples and the different cults and so on and so forth. You know, you have fanatical cults even within Greek mythology and people who believed in those particular gods. But that's within everything. So when you try and suppress and limit and minimize Greek mythology, whatever particular culture it may be, to just being lesser spirits, demons, and everything of that sort, you sound stupid. You sound ignorant. You know? Let's continue.
So it kind of just feels like, at a point, it just kind of felt like a planetary orgy was being ran through on me.
What?
Like, low key.
That is crazy. How did he get there? A planetary what? You see what I'm talking about, fam? You'll see what I'm talking about with this mindset that let's continue.
Like, because I'd have to switch and be these different entities, and it takes a lot to be able to play all these multiple characters and write these stories. And it is me. I do get to drive it in a certain sense, but it's like at the end of the day, they got to have their way with me, because it got to a point where you want to sell more shirts, you want to do this, make another video, put on a shirt, tie your hair back and do the Venus voice. And it doesn't feel good. Like, I was not ultimately maintaining in myself. I was losing. Everything comes at a cost. So I said, what's real? I kind of just let's get to the solution here. So I said, what is real? If I don't feel good doing this, I'm not about to just give my purpose away, because I was definitely supposed to do that. That's why the planets are still up. That's why there's still videos. But yeah, so I don't regret what I was doing. And I said, where do I go from here? And I said, you know what? If these are pagan entities and I'm not supposed to be doing this, what do I do now? So what do I do now? And I said, let me go to my Bible. Something just told me, let me go to my Bible. And it was different. I can explain to you what exactly happened, but it was like a bolt of lightning hit me. And it was like, this is who's been running the show the whole time. We've set everything up to this point. This is the main plot, and that's it. A lot of times we can steer away from the plot. It could come in the form of, you're not supposed to be in this job anymore. This job was good for a time, but now it's not. There's new management, or things have just run its course. You're not supposed to be in this relationship. The foundations of this relationship. You're not supposed to, stay in this house with these people, whether it be your family, whether it be roommates. Things run its course, and it's very hard sometimes for people to know. Not even to know, because a lot of times we do know, but we're scared, we're attached, and we're afraid to take these leaps of faith. And that's where faith comes in. Because when it's just saying, like, you're not supposed to be in this house anymore. You're supposed to break this leash. You're supposed to break up with this girl. You're supposed to break up with this guy. You're not supposed to be in this place anymore. Now, a place is figurative for a situation, a relationship, a job, any attachment. You're supposed to detach. But we're afraid to detach sometimes. So I just finally, got up the courage to just detach and say, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore, and find my path. And my path really has become to glorify and educate, because I understood that when you strip everything away, and I've been fortunate enough to be given a life where I don't have the distraction of the 9 to 5. I don't have the distraction of of just certain things that everyday people have to deal with. So I've been able to strip away. I've taken the time to be able to sit down and self-reflect, because every day people, it's like the devil distracts you away from doing what you need to do by keeping you busy, by keeping you, deadline for work. This person needs that. This, there's a family issue. You got to take care of this. Like, we're not able to work on ourselves because we're worried about paying the bills, how we're going to survive, how we're going to provide. So I've just kind of been incubated into a great system. I've been incubated in a perfect place to be able to really say, okay, well, what's real? I've just been able to strip down. And I've stripped down to the point, well, what is really at the bottom floor here? What's the foundation? And it's really a story. Everything is a story of souls won and souls lost, because Jesus is the answer. That is what it is.
This man did some very deep self-reflecting, went on his pilgrimage in his Mecca journey to come to the conclusion that Jesus is the answer. You can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up. And it's so interesting that he talks about pagan gods and pagan deities as if Yahweh wasn't a pagan deity, as if he wasn't a part of a pantheon along with him and Asherah and Baal and Molech. Give me a break, bro. The man has concluded that Jesus is the answer. Let's continue the video.
It is, and I can't say I hate to, because, it's just this whole thing, but that's really what it comes down to, because this whole spiritual thing, the world is becoming so corrupt, and as the world becomes more corrupt, it becomes more obvious who's running things down here. And I've relied on God so many times, and I've looked, the things I have gotten from my Holy Bible, the amount of anointing I've gone through, the amount of times where I've literally called on God, and God has literally, beyond a shadow of a doubt, no point of coincidence, has intervened to save my life and to improve things around me. It has become a shadow of a doubt. So I know Jesus Christ is Lord and Savior, and through him everything is saved. And at the point of that, then once you realize that, it becomes, how many distractions are there that just by a little bit of tweaking and rephrasing pull you away from Jesus is the answer? All the other religions, all these multiple denominations of this and that, and it's so much content, it can just be confusing by analysis. But it comes to the point where if you have Jesus Christ, you're saved. And I just wanted to help be a part of that. So that's why when you see my content with God, when you see everything that I'm talking about, spiritually, reframing the Bible, any Christian type merch that you may see coming out, it's all to glorify God through the content, and to get people to get back on the plot, really, because we all have our own missions when it comes to God. And I'm glad that I've been able to really make it back to the plot, because a lot of people do get lost. A lot of people get lost in the sauce. A lot of people sign contracts with themselves, with people that tie them up, and don't allow them to stick to the plot. But yeah, I'm glad that I've been able to navigate, and the Holy Spirit has been able to navigate me, and keep me on this path. So thank you to anyone who's supported the planets. I don't want it to seem like I'm not grateful for that moment, because everything has been God, So God has said, let me show you this through the planets. Let me show you the highs that you can reach. Let me show you what is on this side. And then let me take that away, like Job, and let me...
Job is a terrible example to use. Oh, goodness gracious. Well, let's just pause here before he goes any further. I can appreciate him as a person, as a man, for making a decision to go with his heart and what he chooses, he feels that is right, to go along with rebranding himself. I may not agree with his belief system and his spiritual journey and everything of that sort, But if that is what he chooses to do and he stands 10 toes down on it, I am all for it. I am all for somebody who wants to be grounded and have more of a foundation of what they believe in above all things. It doesn't matter what you believe in and who you are. I like somebody who is grounded and is not shaken by what they feel, gives them more life and more abundance in life. So if that's the route he chooses to go, all props to him. But all that paganism and lesser spirit talk and, that Christian mojo, you know what I'm saying? All that's baloney. If you want to know more on why I feel that way, I have videos speaking and talking on those subjects as well. But, him talking about him being led by the Spirit and how he comes to this decision of Jesus to answer, and basically everything outside of that could be a distraction, everything of that sort. From my perspective as somebody who is omnious, but also who is somebody who is considered a heathen and non-believer, everything that is going right in his life is because of him. He talks about how without a shadow of a doubt, God has always came to save today. But it was never somebody in the sky. It was never somebody that he had to call upon. It was the power, the infinite one within himself. Only you can save yourself. Nobody can come and save you but you. And you need to understand that very, very critically. Because a lot of people are still waiting for somebody or something or someone to save them. And nobody is coming back for your black ass. Damn sure ain't Jesus. But let's finish out this video.
Let me show you what's possible to do through me. It's like, that was the first half, and now you worked for me now. Now let's do things, the right way. And I'm like, okay, let's do it, because I know it's possible. Anything can, God will always do a new thing. And so I will always get to where I need to go. I just want to make sure it's not the destination, it's how you get there. And I want to make sure that I get there correctly. I would have hated to lose myself to the clout, to the money, to the women, to any fleshly fulfillment, because man, the flesh is so addicting. We love stuff down to the food we know we shouldn't be eating, down to the people that we hang around, the gratification, down to the, oh my gosh, I love you and I love your videos. I mean, like we can let that get to our head. And I'm just so glad that I've been processed in a way that I don't let it steer me too far. I just want to say thank you. Thank you to anyone who supported me, anyone who's still here, anyone who's been here. Thank you so much.
All right, and that's the end of that video. But this is what I would like to say concerning the basis of what he said to close it up, to close it out, is when it concerns your flesh, the purpose of your flesh is for you to discipline and tame your flesh so that it can work for you and not against you. In the Bible, it tells you about crucifying the flesh and getting rid of the old man, right? And to renew your mind so that you can be transformed and not conform to the world. The thing about that is the essential point of your hero's journey is for you to become your greatest potential, and your greatest potential is hidden within your shadow self, within your carnal self, within your flesh. That, the story is told for you to slay the dragon, to slay the beast, but the true alchemy, the true transformation is for you to be the beast tamer, for you to embody the beast, for you to be the one who rides on the dragon, for you to be the one to control and tame the beast. That is the one who is feared, not the one who can slay the dragon, but who can get the dragon to obey him. That's the one you don't want to mess with, because you'll have more chances at slaying a dragon than getting a dragon to be at your will. That is why a person who is focused and who is disciplined is a dangerous man. A man who just won't let little things get by him. the little bit of pleasure. He can delay gratification. He can delay all the fortunes of the world. He can delay all the fame and all the egotistical things to feed his arrogance or his pride. He can lay all that aside and focus on the main goal. And see, I could be on that, pure as day, and I don't have to serve any God. I don't have to give my life to any Christ. I don't have to be a Christian. I don't have to be led by any spirit, because the Infinite One resides within me. And if this is his personal path of him being led on by the Infinite One, all power to him. If this is the way that the Infinite One within himself, or the energy within himself, is to utilize him in the best way of his ability, all power to him. But I can't let what you said about the entities and the planets and all that stuff, personally, I could not let that slide. I just personally agree. I personally disagree with that. I truly feel like there is a deep propaganda that's tried to be, that's been tried to be spread out. That's been attempted to be spread out through different outlets of social media by Christians. They'll try and demonize yoga even. They'll demonize meditation. They'll demonize all these different things that, have been utilized for thousands of years by many different cultures, upon many different generations and multitudes of cultures around the world. And Christians will have this westernized mindset of trying to demonize other cultures, demonize other gods and systems, so that they can, put their God supreme. And it's only to feed their ego, ironic enough. Yeah. It's no better than somebody arguing over Batman being better than Superman, or their football team being better than their football team. It's all the same thing, and you sound foolish at the end of the day. And I'm pretty sure Keats is not the type of person to just be going back and forth with people. I know he has a kind heart, gentle spirit, everything of that sort. But you can hear that dogmatic rhetoric in how he even talks about these things, and how I said earlier about how the Greek gods are supposedly fallen angels, all this mumbo jumbo. I just couldn't let that slide. That's a bunch of nonsense. But if you would like to know more about my perspectives on these ideas and these concepts, I have a video right here where I kind of go into the gist of these type of bases of topics. So you don't want to miss that one. Till next time, I'll see you in that video. Yeah, click it. Go ahead.